Good evening, and welcome to the Elevate Rapid City Mayoral Forum. I'm Murdoch with Home Slice, and I'm a member of the Elevate Board. Elevate believes that an informed community is a strong community. We know decisions made by our city and school leaders have a direct impact on our daily lives. So thank you for taking the time to be here this evening, or watching it from home. A special thank you to News Center 1 for making this possible. We'd also like to thank AARP for helping sponsor this event. And the Rapid City, the Rapid City Youth City Council also helped provide input for tonight's questions. Off script for 1 second, I'd also like to point out this is one of the first mayorals in history where a good majority of the media is covering it at once and putting it out online for the entire community. So thank you for doing that. Okay. Before we begin, I'd like to lay out the ground rules for this forum. It's a forum and not a debate. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. We have lights in front of the stage there. Green means begin, yellow means you have 30 seconds left, and red means stop. I will give you a few seconds to wrap up your thoughts, and I will politely interrupt. That gets a joke at some forums. Come on, we can relax a little. You guys mind if I take this out? Here, all right. Okay, following introductions, we will begin asking a set of prepared questions that represent the concerns of our stakeholders and partners. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to respond. Once we have asked the prepared questions, we will begin with the audience questions. You will see in the back of the room over there is where you can submit your questions at the cocktail table. Please submit any questions you have there. We are limited on time, but we will do our best to get to all the questions. All right, so now that we have the housekeeping out of the way, we will start with 2-minute introductions. I will introduce the candidates: Ron Weifenbach, Laura Armstrong, Brad Estes, Jason Solomon, and tonight Josh Lyle could not attend. We'll start with our first introduction with Ron Weifenbach.
Thank you all for coming. I'll give you a little history about me. My mother came here from Germany, from Kaiserslautern, Germany in 1959 with my 2 sisters. She actually came to Aberdeen, South Dakota. We then migrated over to Pierre and then to Rapid City, where I made my stakes in 1970, and I've been here ever since. So I've been here over 50 years. I went to high school here, and I went to Black Hills State College, where I got a business degree with an accounting major. I went on later to get an MBA and pass the CPA exam. I have an inactive CPA license. I've got extensive business experience working for national companies in here and across the country, put together different businesses for them, and had a lot of management skills, dealt with a lot of different technical skills and training to deal with that type of stuff. I raised my children here. I had 2 little daughters. I raised them here. They've since gone and moved to Oklahoma and Oregon, so I decided to stay here years ago. I made my roots here. I've spent 8 years in the South Dakota Army National Guard, and I love Rapid City. I love everything about Rapid City. I had plenty of chances to leave here, but I decided to stay because of people like you and people that love our community. So that's a little bit about me. So thank you.
I'm Laura Armstrong. I'm running for mayor because I have a strong sense of responsibility. I also have a strong sense of community. I have the experience, the skills, and the ability to unite Rapid City. For those of you who really know me, you know that I'm active, engaged, and truly present in our community long before campaign season ever started. My personal and professional experiences have really groomed me well for this position. I've served on our Common Council for the last 6 consecutive years, 4 in leadership positions, and twice as your council president. I've worked in the legal, the corporate, the school system, and in the medical fields. I've also been a small business owner since 2011, and so I understand the challenges and the opportunities that come with growth and development in those sectors. And most importantly, I'm a wife and mother to a strong family. All of these combined make a strong foundation for your next mayor. Once I'm elected, I'll be focused on making Rapid City stronger. I'll do that by making development stronger, our businesses stronger, our schools stronger, our families stronger, so we can have a stronger and even better Rapid City. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brad Estes, and I want to be your next mayor. I grew up in Wall, South Dakota. I grew up during a time and at a place where the promise of free ice water and a nickel cup of coffee fueled a great economy. I lived in a motel office until I was 13 years old. It was there where I learned the hospitality industry from my mom, Amy. I also had the good fortune of watching my dad start his career. He had a Jeep trencher, and he installed rural water systems for area ranchers. It was from my dad that I learned to identify opportunity and to assess risk. It was from both of my parents that I learned a great work ethic. I'm running for mayor for several reasons. One, I want to serve. I want to give back to a community that has provided me with opportunity and a safe place to raise my children. I also think that the citizens of Rapid City would be well served to have a mayor that has private sector experience. Somebody like myself, somebody that knows what it's like to take personal financial risk in order to create economic development. We have many issues before us, and I don't pretend to have all the answers, but if we all work together, there's nothing that we cannot solve. I'm confident that as the voters go to the polls on June 6th, that if you really look at my work history, that you will find that I'm well suited to meet the needs of your next mayor. Again, I'm Brad Estes. I'm running for mayor, and I'd appreciate your vote on June 6th. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you to all of you viewing online and on television as well. It's great to be with you. My name is Jason Solomon, and it would be my honor to serve as your next mayor. I got to tell you, South Dakota is where possibility lives, and Rapid City serves as a shining example of that. And I'm excited about the future that holds for us. But we have to make the most of the opportunities ahead while keeping what makes us special, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running. A little bit about me. I think it's important that you know who your candidates are for mayor. I will tell you straight up what I'm all about. I'm about God, family, country, and Rapid City. Those are 4 oaths I've taken. I've taken an oath to the good Lord to serve him above all. I've taken an oath to my wife, Gwen, and we've been faithfully married since year 2000. I always recommend getting married on the millennium. It's easy to remember your anniversary date. We have 2 grown children who are both married. We're very proud of them. A son who's recently finished his term in the Army, and my daughter's at Black Hill State majoring in education. Country. I served my country in the United States Air Force. After I graduated high school from Stevens High School right here in Rapid City, I enlisted in the Air Force, and that's where I met and married my wife. Once my service was up, we decided we wanted to return home to Rapid City to plant our roots and build our lives, and that's exactly what we've done as we've invested in Rapid City. So we raised our family here, I built my career here, and we have prospered here because in Rapid City, it's possible here. So I've been able to do many things after my service. I served in Fortune 500, where I got to oversee branding and organizational development. I served at Black Hills Federal Credit Union, where I was Vice President of Operations and Strategic Services. So I have executive level experience. And of course, right now, I'm executive pastor at Fountain Springs Church, where I oversee the staff and operations, in addition to my 6 years on the city council, including as council president in 2017 through 2018. I would be honored to serve as your next mayor, and I look forward to the discussion tonight. Thank you.
Not to be the buzzkill, I'll remind us that's the last applause we're going to do after introductions, all right? Okay. Great introductions. We'll go to our questions. Laura, you'll have the first answer. A reminder, we have 90, if I'm reading this right, 90 seconds for each one of these questions. Question number 1 is this. What role does the city play in supporting economic development and the success of local businesses?
I think the mentality of Main Street Partners' success and leadership. I think what want to do is ensure that our community is safe, inclusive, and vibrant for locals, tourists, and our visitors, because that helps our businesses. The city's basic priorities would be clean water, safe landfill, and navigable roads. It's important that we provide equal accessibility so we have equal opportunity to get to our goods and services. We need to work in partnership for success. And I use the Elevate Rapid City as a wonderful model how the city and businesses work together. I'm a staunch proponent for capitalism because when businesses are successful, we can hire more employees, pay better wages, and then that provides more to the Rapid City economy. That's generated revenue. And when we have that, it can go to the common good. So that could be either infrastructure or the community, hopefully both. Our businesses must be successful because they are our employers. When business is thriving, our city is thriving, and I'm committed to making sure our businesses are thriving. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the city sets the tone. I think the city says, hey, we're open for business. We also need to make sure that we reduce unnecessary roadblocks for businesses to come to our community and try to do business with us. Another thing we need to do is make sure that those city employees that are involved in planning, engineering, and permitting know with confidence that they're working with a set of ordinances that are supported by the mayor and the council. Secondly, we need to make sure that we're doing all the other things right as a community so that we have the ability to grow. Things like crime prevention and infrastructure. We also need to look at our other assets of the community, the airport, the monument arena, our arts community, and also all of our outdoor facilities where we play sports and that type of thing. We have to make sure that we provide good facilities for Visit Rapid City to sell as a community. But there's never been a greater time in the history of Rapid City that these assets of the community represent economic development tool than right now in the next 5 years. Thank you.
Well, I think that the city can encourage economic development by doing its job well. I think the city needs to get back to basics and do everything it does well, from public safety, planning and zoning, public works, libraries, parks and recreation, you name it, all across the city. The city has a lot to do. But I got to say this, we will not prosper if we are not safe. Everyone is welcome in Rapid City, but crime is not. And we have to prioritize public safety because it will get in the way of everything that we want to do. What does that mean? That means, first of all, it means supporting those who serve on the front lines. Our police and our firefighters, they do a lot for us. Right now, we're down about 20 police officers. It takes about 9 to 12 months to get new ones trained. So we need to start thinking ahead of what our need is a year from now, reverse engineer back and hire for that today. That means to make sure that we're paying competitively and giving them great benefits. Also means we need to commit to enforce the law, big and small. That is a significant thing that we have to do, and the next mayor needs to make sure that's a priority. The other thing we need to do is pursue greater accountability, working with the local jurisdictions through the criminal justice system and court system to ensure that we are making sure that people are held accountable for their actions, because that is significant. And we also need to increase deterrence efforts. That means having presence in strategic places. I look forward to talking about that a little bit here soon, but make no mistake about it, all the great plans we have mean nothing if we are not safe, and I'm committed to make sure this is a safe place to raise your family. Thank you.
The mayor has to be a good ambassador to new businesses and the businesses that are here. I can go back into the years on the council back in the early 2000s when we sat in an incubator over by the School of Mines, and we had a dream. And the dream was for Rapid City and the people that would want to come here and work at the corridor, a technical corridor. We got a chance right now to make some of those things happen. We've been working with the property mill people and Wildfire downtown that can make these things happen. Basically, what government can do sometimes is get out of the way. Get out of the way, set the tone, put the infrastructure in place for these people to be successful. And we have a lot of people in our community who are very successful. But the track record has always been, oh, this looks shiny, let's grab this, or this looks shiny, let's grab this, and we bring these people to town and make all these promises and these things, and they never transpire. We got people in our community right now that have businesses that are very successful. They want to grow those businesses, and we have to tweak the process. We have to come into the age of today and make the changes for this to happen. And there'll be some little bit of uncomfortable feelings from that. But if we make these things happen, that's our role as government, to see what we can do to make these things happen and bring good jobs. $80,000 a year jobs when you don't have to have a college degree, those are good jobs.
Our second question, we'll start with Brad. Question number 2 is this. The city needs to balance infrastructure capacity with the community's need for affordable and accessible housing. How can the city better plan for future growth and improve the supply of accessible and affordable housing?
Thank you for the question. I believe the mayor and the council need to be actively involved in which direction the city develops. That way, they make sure we have the larger size of the utilities in place so that we're ready for development when it needs to happen. We've heard time and time again during this campaign, mostly about workforce housing, but the bottom line is we need all types of housing here in Rapid City, and if you take the area that you're going to grow and you master plan it, and you're sure that you're going to meet the needs of the community. The master plan should show mixed use, single family, multifamily, and housing with barrier-free housing for the elderly. That way, you know which direction we're going and the needs we're going to meet. But at the end of the day, cities don't develop; developers develop. And developers generally migrate to projects that pose the least amount of risk, because at the end of the day also, whoever the developer is, they end up signing a personal guarantee. And in the developer world, he who signs the personal guarantee gets to decide what they build in a very blunt way. What we need to do is monitor that, make sure we're trying to focus on getting the developer.
I said polite, but I'd be clear.
Well, the question isn't whether we're going to grow, it's whether we're going to grow better or grow worse. Elevate just sent out a press release today saying for the second year in a row, we're the fastest growing city in the Midwest. None of us are surprised, are we? So what are we going to do about it? Well, I think we should get better before we get bigger. And I think we need to look at our infrastructure funding to make sure that we are taking care of what we have right now so that we can grow in a smart and strategic way. One way we do that is by taking a look at our Vision Fund allocation. The Vision Fund is outstanding. I'm not proposing we get rid of it, but I do think we need to adjust the allocations. Currently, the other half cent, besides the arena, is we have 58% that goes to CIP, which is our capital improvement projects, and 42% to the Vision Fund. The great news is our revenues go up, so we have quite a bit of money to work with, but we need a lot more for infrastructure because we know the cost of materials, workers, and everything has gone through the roof. So I'm suggesting that the City Council and the Mayor work together to increase infrastructure improvement and investments. And so that's one thing I think we ought to do. Also in June, I have something coming on the agenda. I waited till after the election so it didn't get politicized because I care about Rapid City and what's good for us, where we can take some of the remaining unused cash from the end of the year and apply it to proactive infrastructure development, where we can work together as a community to say, let's grow this direction. And so we will build road, water, sewer that direction, and then of course as folks hook up to it, they'll pay us back, that'll replenish the fund, and he can use it for the next project. So I think those kinds of ideas are what we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Participation is what's going to take. The rising costs that have streets, water, sewer, to go into a new subdivision have increased so high that it's almost unsurmountable for home builders to build a house in today's market. Plus, they're tied to the development of that. We have to participate as a city. We've been talking about revolving funds for a long time. It's time we make that action. It's one of the reasons I ran for mayor, because we could be capitalizing on some of these tax districts that have been taking place. If we, the city, had financed those, we'd probably have about $50–60 million in a revolving fund today when we first brought it up. But the reluctancy from the administration was hard. Some people would say, well, you sat on the council. That's 1 in 10, and you're not the administration. As the administrator, you have a lot more say in how these things work. And then you also have to have a council that can get it, can understand, getting their arms around it, saying we got to have quality infrastructure to have that happen, and we got to be able to extend that infrastructure. So they call oversizing. That oversizing and that infrastructure is going to have to be participated by the city to make these things happen. I've talked to, in the last month, 2 different developers. One wants to build a 500-house community, a community with parks, houses, those types of things. And the first roadblock he had was infrastructure. Had another guy talk to Black Hills Home Builders the other night. Same problem. They're going to be building 100. But the fact of the matter is the city's going to have to participate, and they're going to have to, they'll be able to capture that interest and be able to pay themselves back as these are materialized. So that's the way it's going to have to happen.
Thank you, Ron.
This is not new. I've been advocating for affordable housing since 2017. In fact, I've written multiple op-eds on the impact of short-term rentals, the missing middle, and quality census tracking. I've also been working with Common Bond. They're our most recent affordable housing complex that's come to Rapid City. We need to incentivize these projects as well as focus on senior housing. You know, I think we can all agree that we are not the same city that we were even 3 years ago, and we need to do things differently as we move into the future. We clearly need a defined vision and a strategy for Rapid City. I have been proposing the Growth and Development Task Force now, and that is comprised of local citizens, stakeholders, and developers coming together, and we are going to strategize in a smart and sustainable way with an emphasis on affordable housing. At bare minimum, we need to modify our ordinances, review and update our zoning laws and our building codes. Growth is inevitable, but how we handle it determines whether or not we maintain the quality of life that we've all come to know and love in Rapid City. Affordable housing should be a priority because communities are stronger when everyone has a home. Thank you.
Our third question, we will start with Jason on this. Question number 3 is this. Road construction and maintenance and parking infrastructure is expensive and can limit opportunities for development. What are your plans to support multimodal transportation options like accessible transit, improved options for walking and biking, and mobility services to ensure all residents have a practical daily transportation option?
That's a great question. First of all, I want to say this. I think we always need to look at the quality of our public transportation because this city is for people. I want to make sure that people move in the way they want to move. I'm really proud of the fact that during my time on council, myself as well as the rest of the council members at the time, instituted the youth ride free on our rapid ride. I think that was significant. A lot of kids are going to school because of that program. I'm really proud to be on that group to make sure that we made that happen. So let's talk a little bit about transportation. I think we definitely need to look at how do we make sure seniors can get around? How do we make sure that those who are disabled can get around? There are improvements to be made. But we are very fortunate in Rapid City that we have a bike path that runs all the way through town. And it is amazing. How many of you have used the bike path? You've biked on it, you walked on it, fall off your roller skates on it, whatever. Well, I think there's opportunities for us to leverage that bike path and make sure that we have, connections to downtown and other areas. I think that's important. But here's a problem. We have people sleeping on our bike paths. How are we supposed to get around them? I did a ride along with our police and our fire department, and I said, show me what happens when we find someone passed out on the sidewalk. So we showed them what happens. We move them, make sure they have a place to go if they're okay. Those are things that all the transportation networks in the world aren't going to do any good if you have a body laying there. So we have to do some things to make sure that's better. I'm recommending a city park ranger program.
Thank you, Jason.
I'll talk about it later.
Thank you. I was on one of the original councils when we made Rapid Ride larger. We added Rapid Ride. We did the bike path. Because the people at the time, the council at the time, had an imagination. They imagined what could happen with the bike path. They imagined what could happen with rapid transit. We have expanded it a few times in between. We will expand it again. We will make sure we can get up to the Oyate Center and actually deliver people to the building instead of down below. These are things that we can do. Rapid City has the ability to do them. We are putting more police on the beat, on bicycles. They'll be on the bike path. They will be on the downtown. They will be Mount Rushmore Road, and they will be on East North Street to help make those bike paths safer. The other day they were talked about potholes, and potholes are important. We're going to make that a priority. We're going to get more people on the street department. Right now they're short about 6 people, so they maybe see a lot more potholes than you usually do. They're working hard to get them filled. We're going to take a different look at it and take a different process. But all this is going to take communication between myself, the mayor, and the council. Make sure we got a good council, make sure we got communication that goes back and forth so we can get things done. And all we have to do is use the imagination of all you people in here, imagination of the council, and then we all got to be accountable for getting it done.
Public transportation hasn't been a priority, but it should be because it extends the life of our roads and citizens can get to the goods and services that they need. I feel that we need to integrate our transportation plan into this growth and development task force that I've been proposing. We need to actually use it, and we need to expand our public transportation. If people can get their goods and services, it helps our citizens and it helps our economy. In 2022, I fought hard to put a grant writer and a sustainability coordinator in the 2023 budget. I think if we use the grant writer, sustainability coordinator, and involve our disability committee, we can make some nice gains. And I really think that it's important to partner with Western Dakota Tech, School of Mines, Monument Health, and Oyate Health for academics, family, and health care appointments. Just on Tuesday, a nurse from the WIC office called me and said a bulk of their appointments are either canceled or no-showed because people cannot get to their facilities. This hurts babies, this hurts mothers, this hurts families. No matter how strong our schools or hospitals or business and communities are, we are weak if we cannot access them. Building better infrastructure means building a better Rapid City. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe over the campaign season here, we've learned 2 things. The people want their potholes fixed, and they want more money. It all boils down to money. They want more money spent on street rehabilitation. Right now, the CIP throws out about $10 million for street rehabilitation on an annual basis. That's enough to do about 20 blocks a year, 10 blocks at mill and overlay, and another 10 blocks at completely redoing all the utilities in the entirety. We need to get additional funding so that we can do not twice that much, but probably 50% more than that in order to try to keep up and do a better job for our citizens. Obviously, as we grow, the need for public transportation is going to increase, and we're going to have to constantly be looking at where it stops and what the needs are of the people. Regarding the bike path, about probably less than a half of our community is served by the bike path presently. We need to take a look at that and try to expand that bike path at every opportunity. It's a great way for our people to commute to work, for leisure, and for just darn good exercise. So that's where I'm at. Thanks.
Yep. Our next question number 4. We'll start with Ron on this one. Question 4, Rapid City has had a recent influx of residents moving here from out of town. A large percentage a large percentage of these new residents are hoping to retire and may not need to participate in the labor force. What policies or programs will you put in place to ensure our vibrant community has a multi-generational workforce?
I can tell you, I've been working on it already, working with some of the newer companies in town here. Property Meld, for one, they have young people working there in their community. They get high paid. Black Hills Energy was one that I took a lot of hit for that one. When they wanted to expand, they wanted a tax incentive to make it happen. They were going to add 150 jobs of young people, the average pay of about $100,000 a year. We took the hit on it. We did it. What we have to do is have solid policy, have a solid ambassador in the office, somebody who understands what business does for the community, how it helps everything. We have to look at our arts and our culture. It's been one of the things that we've overlooked a lot, and we got to bring that back around. We got to find ways to help them get funded, and I have some ideas on that. We look at everything within our city, especially getting out of the way of the businesses that want to attract these young people. We got to help them. We got to find opportunities for them. Our parks are one. Our communities are one. The people that are moving here have different expectations, and we have to start looking at these expectations and meeting these expectations. I'm at the end of that baby boomers, which I'm 61 as of yesterday. So I see what's happening. The younger generation is filling in. We're getting a lot of these people, but I would disagree with the fact that growth is going to happen. If we screw it up, it won't happen. I've been here when it hasn't happened. I've been here when things went south. We have to be on top of it. We have to be able to block and tackle before we can go to the Super Bowl. Thank you.
People are moving to Rapid City in increased numbers because we have built such a strong and welcoming community. And it's my goal to make sure that we stay strong and welcome new residents. I think we need to emphasize social spaces, senior centers, and youth centers, even combine them or do more work together. I would like to start a Proud Community initiative, and that would involve bringing the businesses, schools, churches, senior centers, high schools, all together so we can address the generational gaps that are going on with youths and seniors. I think we really need to have a strong emphasis on volunteering, getting involved, and actually being a part of the solutions that are needed in our community. It has to start at City Hall, model it there, and then ripple it out. Because when people move here with their retirement income, they're going to create some sort of demand. So whether that's by plays or events or concerts, festivals, that's a source of potential demand. And that leads to a potential revenue, potential to make connections. And when we make those connections, we have social relationships which equate to a better, vibrant, and more connected community. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question, please?
I can, yes. Rapid City has had a recent influx of residents moving here from out of town. A large percentage of these new residents are hoping to retire and may not need to participate in the labor force. What policies or programs will you put in place to ensure our vibrant community has a multi-generational workforce?
I listen to that question. I think about some key philanthropists we've lost in our community over the last 5 years, and hopefully some of these people that are moving here maybe can replace those. I think it's up to the mayor to play a role to make sure that we have a community that provides for infrastructure, planning, and housing, so that people will look forward to moving to our community. And part of this problem is that we have people moving here that want to retire, and we want them to go back to work. We need them. We've all heard the stories. People tell us the stories. You meet the people on the streets. They go, well, we visited here 5 years ago. We loved it so well, we just decided to move here and retire. And that's what's happening. But what we need to do is try to convince those people as ambassadors of our city to go to work seasonally to help us out, help us sell the community and join the workforce. Excuse me. I'm lost, I guess. You know, people just entering their retirement years would also make great mentors. We've had conversations during the campaign about the need for at-risk youth to have counselors.
Thank you, Brad.
Well, the secret's out about Rapid City thanks to us being open during the pandemic, and people love the lifestyle that we have here and our economic efforts. All of that contributes a big portion of it. Another big portion of it is everything starts with a visit. And so we know that we get 3.8 million visitors this past year, creating $463 million of economic impact. So that visitor industry has a lot to do with people wanting to move here because it starts with a visit. But let's talk about the multi-generational workforce. I want to talk about my dad, who's right here. My dad, Russ, laid carpet for a living. We worked hard. His body's been beat up providing for our family, but because if he didn't work, we didn't eat. He is in retirement. So what did my mom and dad do with retirement? They went back to school, became EMTs. They serve every weekend at the Rosebud Reservation. They've done that for 14, almost 15 years. Dad also drives a school bus for the Rapid City Area School District. Lakota Homes is his area. He loves those kids. They both serve in their church. They are very active in their retirement years. Here's the deal. If you are in retirement age, you need to dream a new dream. God's not done with you yet. You have so much to offer, and those of us behind you have so much to learn from you. So I would encourage you, mentor us, coach us, help us, dream. So whether that's learning a new skill or getting more involved, we need you to be a part of our workforce and a part of developing the next generation. Thank you.
Our next question, we'll start with the audience questions now. This first one we'll start with Laura, actually. We have 4 that were picked from random, and then we move on to the audience ones. This is the first audience question, and we'll start with Laura and then continue the same pattern. What is your position on home rule for Rapid City?
We had a home rule task force. It was assembled from with a bunch of stellar citizens. They came to council. They presented a fabulous study that they did, and it was shut down and shelved. So it's not something that's on my radar right now, and I'll pass the mic.
If I had a clean sheet of paper and I was designing a new community, I would have home rule, and I would have a city manager as part of that. I believe that the last attempt to have home rule here showed that there's not an appetite in the community to change that, and so it would not be on my radar to pursue it.
Well, home rule doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a city manager, but we'll talk about city manager. I'm a big proponent that the citizens should choose the next CEO of Rapid City. And if you don't like him or her, you get to fire us in 4 years. How about that? And then get the next one. But I do think there's opportunity for us as mayor, if I'm elected mayor, as CEO, to look at how the city is structured and look at, is there a way to reorganize it to be more effective and efficient for the taxpayers? That's really what it's all about. You need a city that works for you. The city, you don't exist for the city exists for you, and we're here to serve you. So our attitude has to be, how can we help? And so everything that we do, whether it's big decisions like that, or even how we restructure or reorganize, has to do with how do we best serve the citizens of Rapid City to make sure this is an amazing place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you.
I'll give you my attempt at the senior mentoring. Basically, for you who don't know, home rule, everything good about home rule is everything bad about home rule. One thing that home rule does is it allows the city to take on instances where the state doesn't provide for us to do that. So right now, Rapid City's Dillon's rule basically says, if the state says you can do that, then you can do that. And that's why everything good about home rule is everything bad about home rule, because if you get the wrong people in the organization at the time, and I guess the people spoke out against that at the time, they were looking at home rule, then all of a sudden they threw in the city manager thing at the same time. Two different worlds, two different things. You don't need one. One is not reliant upon the other. So would I look at home rule again? If I was your mayor, I might look at it again. But I would make sure all the pieces were in place, all the council members were in place that understood there was no room for abuse of that, because also with home rule gives you opportunity to raise taxes and fees. And I'm sure some of you probably don't want to have that happen, because that could happen. So everything good about home rule is everything bad about home rule. So I'll leave you with that.
Our next audience question will start with Brad. And the question is this. Also, I'll remind the candidates on the audience questions, if you didn't quite get it and you need the question repeated since they're audience questions, just let me know, and I'm happy to repeat them. Next question is this. How would you partner with the school district to improve educational opportunities in Rapid City?
Well, we have separate financial sources, but I think there's several ways let's say perhaps the superintendent of schools and the mayor can partnership in juvenile youth in truancy to try to fight those issues. I also think that it would be a healthy for the city to try to work with the school with regard to vocational, to try to pursue more vocational opportunities, so that when the kids get out of school, they're able to enter the workforce more readily.
Well, this election is about the next generation. You are choosing whoever's going to help lead to build a brighter future for them. And obviously our school district is very important to that. I'm a strong supporter of education. I believe there are several things that we can do. For one, I think we should encourage that we graduate high schoolers with a marketable skill at graduation. They can choose to go on to college, but wouldn't it be great at 18, a graphic designer could get to work, or a welder could get to work, or even in business, knowing basic business. That would be awesome. Two, I think we need to explore neighborhoods, elementary schools, making sure that we keep them. Rapid City is made up of neighborhoods, parks, schools, people that live together, they go to school together, they play together, the parents know each other. It creates a neighborhood, and it creates a safer environment, a more thriving community for that child to thrive. Again, the city is for people. The people aren't for city. We want the child to thrive, so I think we need to do that. And three, we know that early childhood education is significant. We've talked about the reading numbers and how they're down. One thing I would really highly encourage is a mayor's reading challenge, perhaps call it Rapid City Reads, where we encourage parents to read 15 minutes a day to their children at a young age. And as the child learns to read themselves, they get to participate in the challenge as well. We partner with the schools, the library, and the mayor's office to really promote reading to our young people, because that's how we help them have a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. And I've been working on this for a while, and there was a gentleman that was here for a while. He's now gone, but we were looking at bringing vocational school back, because basically at the point when a person hits ninth grade, we lose a lot of these kids. So if we bring the vocational back where they're not having to take both of them, the city's probably going to have to dip in and participate in this situation to bring a building for them. When I was younger, Stevens High School, Central High School, we would have auto body, we'd have welding, we had mechanics, we had all these things. So people would come out of school and they could actually go out and earn a living. But it was cheaper to live back then too. You could rent an apartment for $150 and you could live on it. So we have to really emphasize this and how this happens in our community, and it's going to take participation from the city. Also, you, as the mayor, and this is something that's really important for you guys to catch, is that we are the second largest city in the state of South Dakota, right? So with that platform comes a bully platform that says, I am going to commit to each one of you today that I'm going to do what I say and say what I do, but I'm also going to take that to the state, to the county, and everybody else and say, we demand our fair share. We demand our fair share in the education system. If the funding system's wrong, we got plenty of people to help change that in our community. We have to look at these things. We have to ask for transparency so we understand the numbers. Right now, the governor's telling us we get the numbers, we get the money, but we don't understand it. We don't see it. Where can we find it? We need to make that available to us so we can help them build these schools, help them keep the elementary schools in the neighborhoods.
How do you have a healthy, vibrant community when you don't have healthy, vibrant schools? Most families relocating to our city, the first thing that they do is they research our school system. Unfortunately, when they do a Google search, they find out that we're doing book bans, controversial social studies standards, and we have dilapidated schools. I used to work in the school district as a speech therapist between 2003 and 2006, so this is near and dear to my heart. I'm intimately aware of the challenges that that our schools are facing. 3 years ago, I took a tour of our school district. Buildings are literally falling in on themselves. As a community, it's embarrassing and shameful, and frankly, it's just not right. We need new buildings. We need an early learner program. We need before school and after school programs. Statistics have repeatedly shown a direct correlation between the quality education children receive and the number of people processed through the judicial system. An investment in our schools is not only an investment in our children's future, but ultimately improves public safety. It reduces homelessness, and it helps our businesses and our economy thrive. Given my connections to our education system, as your new mayor, I would prioritize partnering with schools, including higher education, and encourage the community to get invested in our schools as well. We owe it to our children, we owe it to our teachers, we owe it to our businesses, and we owe it to our community.
Thank you, Laura. Did you start? I'm sorry, I should have gone up back. Nope.
I started.
Yes, sorry. On to our next question, right? There we go. I'll remind the audience, if you still have a question, there's a cocktail table right over there. You can still submit. If you still have a question, we'll be taking questions until 6:50, until closing remarks. Our next question is this. Oh, see, I'm sorry. This is what happens when you have an unprofessional moderator. Sorry, everybody.
Between Brad and
we're
I,
on
we're gonna
TV.
figure
My
it out.
parents saw that.
Our bad. Brad and I got it figured out. Is this on? All right. Your question,
And the question. Let's just get all the screw-ups out of the way. Are we ready? Okay. Okay, here we go. How will your administration ensure Rapid City has a long-term water supply?
I think that's a great question. There are several things in the works right now. For starters, we know there's a significant project that's going to take a long time to provide Missouri River water here to Rapid City in the area. But I think this really comes back to something I've been talking about on the campaign trail, the need for a regional strategic plan. Because here's the deal. In order for us to address our growing water needs, we're going to have to think regionally. The city can't just think for itself anymore. We have to think about the communities around us, work with the county and the state as well. So we need a regional strategic plan. For example, do we need another reservoir besides Pactola? Can we draw from that? Would that be easier or cheaper than the Missouri River? Should we do it all? Who do we provide water to? I will tell you, our water department does a great job providing clean, safe drinking water for you. They do an excellent job. They'll continue to do that. So here's one thing I've learned, though, is that the city and the state really need to build a stronger relationship. It hasn't always been the case. And for us to take on some of these projects, it's going to take a lot of money and some state funding. I've learned that the mayor's office and governor's office haven't been in frequent discussion with each other, and that will change under my watch. We will have a good relationship with the governor's office, as we will with the state legislature, the county, and the region around us, because we got to make sure that we do everything we can to ensure clean, safe drinking water for the next generation. Thank you.
I'm happy to say back in 2007, 2008, I participated in making sure that Rapid City would have clean water for a long time. We purchased water rights from Pactola, many thousand acre feet of water rights from Pactola. At the same time, we went throughout the community and we purchased water rights from the ditches, all the ditches in the community. If you ever want to be impressed by something that was done in the late 1800s, go check these ditches out that they used to irrigate with. They're awesome. We, as a city, have water rights, plenty of water rights. We can attack this regionally. We can help Box Elder if we so choose. We just have to go about it in the right direction and make sure we do protect it for the future. We also I participated in the building of Jackson Springs, which tripled, or actually I think your water bills went up 5 times at the time. And people said to me, you can't do that. I said, watch. I said, the people want clean drinking water. We just have to be transparent in how we approach it, how we sell it to the people in the community. We went out, we took the council members, the mayor, we all were on board. We had a plan and said we need to build Jackson Springs. I think at that time, somewhere in the tune of 30 to 50 million, maybe 80 million is the number. I'm not sure. I think last year we approved a new membrane for $1 million to be put into Jackson Springs. You got to think ahead. And we did that. and I'm proud of that, and I was part of that. And there was several other council members, and Mayor Ellen Hanks was in on that deal too. So we are.
Thank you.
I'm glad we're talking about our water supply. This is something that's very important to me. We mentioned the Missouri Water Project. That is decades away and billions of dollars. We won't see it in our lifetime. The bottom line is we need to take care of the water source that we have here in Rapid City, and that's Rapid Creek. I am proud to have brought 2 successful water resolutions during my term on council. Excuse me. That was to keep mining out of Rapid Creek. I'm not against mining, but we should not have any kind of mining in our water supply, period. I'm glad that everybody wants to have a plan and a vision, because that's exactly what I've been talking about, that growth and development task force. Water is critical infrastructure. It helps residents, it helps our businesses, it helps our tourists, and it also helps preserve our quality of life for living and recreation. This was a priority to me for the last 6 years, and it will continue to be a top priority as your next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that for the foreseeable future, the Jackson Springs facility will serve the needs of the community. I think longer term, like past what you're going to live and I'm going to live our lifetime, we need to stay involved with the Missouri River piping of the water, because we want to make sure that we're in that line for generations to come. Protection of the Pactola watershed area is critical. Keeping Rapid Creek clean is critical, and like I say, making sure that Jackson Springs is operating as it should. I think we'll have water for the foreseeable future.
Our next question will start with Ron. And if I may, a great question from whatever audience members submitted this. What does compromise mean to you? And what will you do to build consensus with the city council and residents? Compromise. Compromise.
I know I'm getting old and I'm losing my hearing, but compromise, that I'm a good compromiser. I listen. I can bring resolution to things. I have no problem with people bringing me ideas. Matter of fact, I like it best when people do disagree with me. It sharpens me, makes me smarter. I know that I'm not the smartest guy in the room all the time, that's for sure. But when people come and they challenge me, that sharpens me. That makes me sharper. That's how I've lived my life. That's how I've managed throughout the years, is finding resolutions, making things happen, working together, and make things happen. Compromise is of the utmost. I mean, we live in a, like, you know, people want to say it's divisive. I say it's less divisive than what people really actually think it is. There's room. There's always space in there to find something that works, especially when you're in a leadership role and you have a council of 10 people. The biggest thing is to have feedback back and forth. Understand we're going to have a conversation that is, I'm not going to get you with a gotcha. It has no interest in that. I don't have time for that. What I want is value add, bring something value add to the table. Let's have a conversation about it, and let's find a solution to make things happen. Because we, you know, task force, all these things where you talk and I'm responsible. I make the decision in the end. I'll come out into the community, talk to you. I don't like a groupthink thing. I want to have a conversation with you one-on-one so you can use your imagination. And let's do that. Then we can almost do anything we want. As long as we don't have a groupthink process going on, because that happens.
Thank you. Okay. Compromise. I know what that means. It's what I do, and it's who I am. As a council member and as council president for 2 years, that's what I have been doing for the last 6 years. I've told all of our council members, when we are working together, we need to work together. If we have issues, it goes behind closed doors and we work it out. It all starts with relationships. You don't have to like me, but I was elected to do a job. Council was elected to do a job. The mayor was elected to do our job. We need to work together for the betterment of Rapid City. Compromise, I believe, is defined when we both kind of hurt a little as we walk away, but we take comfort in knowing that we did it for the betterment of Rapid City. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel that I spent 4 years on the council, my last 2 as president, and during those terms, I built a reputation of being somebody that was considered to be a consensus builder, and I learned I got that reputation by doing one thing and one thing only really well, and that's to listen. And if you're willing to invest the time in listening to people and trying to further understand the issues at hand and the problem that you're trying to solve, then you're better able to bring a solution forward that will be supported by the majority of the people. And compromise is, that's what we need to do. That's the only way we're going to move the needle on city government and make progress is if we're all willing to leave a little bit at the door, not get everything you want, but we're supposed to be serving here at the betterment and for the benefit of our constituents. And that's to me why we compromise, and that's why we do what we do here. Thanks.
Well, I think it's important to know when to stand your ground and when to seek common ground. I'll tell you an example of when I've sought common ground on the council. Not too long ago, Ms. Armstrong mentioned the resolution regarding protecting the Rapid Creek. I will tell you that was going to fail. But what I did is I interjected and I said, if you remove these couple of statements that demonize the mining industry and instead promote our desire for clean water, I will support it. And it did, and that's how it passed, by the way. That's common ground. Now, standing your ground are things like, if I think you want to do something that's going to harm children, like, pornography in the libraries in the children's section, or allowing boys and girls' restrooms, those sort of things, you're going to hit a brick wall with me. There's no common ground there. So if you're going to harm children, no. But if it's about finding things that we can work together on, as I've tried to do, then yes, we can do that. Even during the pandemic, I resisted mandates and closures, and when it was brought forward to do a mask mandate, instead of just saying no, which is what I did, I also tried to bring a resolution forward, just say, hey, how about we encourage people to take these precautions? And we list those out. And of course, that didn't happen either. But you try to find that common ground for the betterment of the community. I thought at the time that if we would just come together and pass this resolution, we could actually be united in a messaging to the community rather than be divided, which is exactly what happened, and it further divided the community. Had we only listened to me, I think we'd be in better shape today. Thank you.
Our next question, we will start with Laura. Do you have a plan to help address poverty, and how will you ensure all residents have access to housing and shelter?
One more time.
Sure. Do you have a plan to help address poverty, and how will you ensure all residents have access to housing and shelter?
About a month ago, I found out that 53% of children in our public school systems are at or below the poverty line. And again, I find that embarrassing. I think that there's a tale of two cities with Rapid City. There are people that don't realize that there's that much poverty going on in our city. And I think now that this room knows this, it's our job to do something and figure out what we can do. I'm going to go back to that Growth and Development Task Force because that has affordable housing in it. It addresses our schools. It addresses critical infrastructure, which is not just roads and water and sewer, but it's also our schools, our children, and our families. This is something that we have to do as a community if we want to reduce the poverty in our area. I don't think there's one person that has one idea that is going to be the quick fix for everybody. And I just think that we need to come together and listen to our constituents, listen to the people that are in poverty, and help them. I think One Heart is a good solution, but it's one, and we need to help the already established facilities that are in our community. Thank you.
I'd ask you to repeat the question, but you don't need to. What a difficult topic, and this is not something that any mayor, at least I would not be able to do as mayor by myself. This is something that we as a community have to work together on. And I don't have a plan. I just have to be right up front. I don't have a plan that would solve the issues that you named there in that question. I would love to be in a position to work towards that plan and be at the table and get the right people around the table to work towards that. But as I sit here right now, I do not have that plan.
This is why I love economic development, by the way. I think when economic development focuses on economic development, it does good things. It keeps taxes in check, helps create jobs, and helps lift people out of poverty. I think that's what's significant is when you provide that opportunity. So good work to our economic development folks. This is a big topic. We're not going to cure poverty. Anybody who says that is overpromising. I'm certainly not going to do that. However, I do think there are things that we can do to make sure that we address the homeless situation. Because quite frankly, there's a difference between helping people who can't help themselves and enabling those who won't help themselves. And that's loving your neighbor is different than enabling your neighbor. And I'm going to tell you that that's something that we need to address. We are so compassionate, Rapid City. We have big hearts. I love that about you. That is great. But our compassion is hurting people because we're enabling people to stay in the environment that creates a lifestyle for them to live in. I think there's great programs, whether it's Cornerstone, One Heart, or whatever, that help people level up out of homelessness. I think those are great, and those should be invested in if they're producing results. But if someone's choosing a lifestyle, choosing to live on the streets, choosing to professionally panhandle, we should not endorse that. We should not enable that. And so I will just tell you, the choice is up to us. Direct your donor dollars to organizations that are doing great work. Make sure you're not giving to panhandlers, but give to those organizations, and let's not enable them, and make sure that because it's not fair to them. They deserve better than our enabling. Thank you.
Excuse me, but the poor will always be with us. Poverty will always be with us, but that doesn't mean we can't have approaches to it. The city of Rapid City, all of you have spent millions and millions of dollars every year working on this issue. And if we keep doing the same thing, obviously that's not going to work. So if you're homeless in the community, there are options for you. We've worked on other options of mental health, also addiction. But what really is true to my heart here tonight, and I'm not going to point anybody out, but I had a conversation earlier here when I was here with a lady and she said to me, she was an elderly lady, and she looked at me right in the eye and she said, "You know what? My property taxes are going to take me out of my house." That's a sad thing. People in Rapid City haven't experienced that. We are experiencing that, and we have to get on the front of that. We have to help the elderly in our community as well as the people we see panhandling. Now, the panhandling, I have a plan for all that. I'm working on the plan for what we do with the other people in our community who are getting taxed out of their houses, the electric bills, the gas, the water. It's just taking these people out. They're fixed income people. They tried hard, they worked hard all their life, and what do? Kick them to the side. It's got to stop. As the mayor of the second largest city in the state of South Dakota, you got a platform, and they're going to hear from me. If I have to go and stand on Christie's desk to say, "Hey, listen, we got a problem here. These people in Rapid City that have these fixed incomes, they can't pay these property taxes. We have to address it." The legislators that walk around, they're not going to get a free pass.
Yep, next question, and Brad, you will start.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, man, we're keeping it light. It's a hard one.
Just trying to get even with
Our next question, we'll start with Brad. Are you in favor of restructuring the Vision Funds program, and how will you use the program to address the needs of the community?
I am in favor of restructuring, but I think when you look at one thing that doesn't change in the scenario is that the Vision Funds, I believe, can only be used for capital projects, capital improvements. So when you're looking at the reallocation, you cannot include into your thought process operational expenses. So, but I'm dead serious about thinking that we need to take a good share of the Vision Funds and put it into street rehabilitation and utility rehabilitation. We need to make it. We need to make it right with the citizens in our neighborhoods that have aging infrastructure, and we need to step up to the rate at which we're rehabilitating our streets and utilities. So that's what I would do. I think we need to keep almost a complete round for our own use.
Well, obviously, I brought this up earlier, so you already know the answer to that question. I am in favor of reallocating the Vision Fund. First of all, I want to give an acknowledgement to those who are behind creating the Vision Fund in the first place. Thank you, because it's made our community better in many ways. I know Mayor Ed McLaughlin had a lot to do with that as well. I do want to thank him. The community is the one that instituted the Vision Fund, so when I talk about it with the community, I'm talking about it as a way to say, hey, should we reprioritize now? Just like we do with our household budget. You know, we got bad news about our sprinkler system, and so I have to figure out, well, what do I not go out to eat? Do I go out to eat, or do I install synthetic lawn? What do I do to address this urgent need? Which I guess sprinkler's not too urgent, but that's what you have to do in your household budget. When you have something come up, you have to prioritize things. And that's what we need to do as a city. And that's where we're at with the Vision Fund. And that's why I'm saying that 58% and 42% that goes to Vision, 58% to CIP, our infrastructure, I think that should be seriously looked at. Maybe it's 75, 80% to our CIP budget and 25% to Vision Fund. That'll still be millions of dollars to do projects. But we should also prioritize city-funded projects, city capital projects, such as our parks. Nobody's going to invest in our parks but us, instead of nonprofits who can ask for donor money. Rapid City doesn't ask for donor money. We end up taxing you. You don't want more of that. So let's use the tax base that we have to take care of our essential needs. Thank you.
Nothing's off the table, that's for sure. But you got to understand that Vision Fund, more than half of that and more of our CRP is pledged for the debt service on the Civic Center. So we got to be careful about how we do that, because that changes our debt service and our direction of our funding on that. So, but nothing's off the table. I think we have an opportunity with cash available. But the one thing you have to understand about infrastructure projects in our community, when you talk about roads, as soon as we go out and start fixing your roads, you're going to call us up and go, oh, it's all these orange cones about, because we have a little window of opportunity. And we have very few contractors in our community that they have other projects to do too. So we have to somehow figure out a way to strategically get with these guys. The nice thing is, if you've looked over the last few years, we've had a lot more contractors coming to our community, which will be a bigger demand for them, which will hopefully come back and say, hey, you guys want to do some road projects? Let's fit them in. We got to be ready to do it. I would tax the council to come up with a good vision on what we could do here. Whether it would include the Vision Fund or not, I'm not sure, but it's not off the table, because we got to address the infrastructure in our community. I have a plan for a lot of it, but this is not off the table for funding it. Thank you.
I'm in favor for reallocating the Vision Funds, but it needs to be a collaborative effort. My philosophies are communication, collaboration, and cooperation, and it needs to be done with the mayor, the council, and citizen committee. In fact, I would propose that we have Mayor McLaughlin come back on, since he was there initially, and if we are going to revamp it or revise it, have him do that. He is a good friend and a mentor of mine, and I think he would definitely take us up on that offer. The bottom line is, we have priorities: infrastructure, and arts. And it's a shame that we're in the Doll, and this is the first time that we're mentioning the arts. So thank you to the Doll for hosting this. Arts are a valuable part of our community. The bottom line with the Vision Fund, it's the people's money, and they need to have a say in where their money goes and how it's allocated. Thank you.
Our next question, we'll start with Jason. A large percentage of new jobs are created by startups. How do you plan on attracting and developing more startups in Rapid City?
Well, yeah, Rapid City was built by pioneers in pursuit of possibility. And we see that with small businesses and startups. All of you, many of you in this room were a small business at one time. That was a startup, by the way. And now we're seeing great ideas coming out of the School of Mines and just people with all sorts of ideas at home for great projects. And so one thing I think we have to do in Rapid City is foster the environment where we are at the hub of innovation and technology, foster the environment that keeps taxes low, keeps regulations reasonable, so that people can actually get their idea off the ground. I think those are significant things that we can do, in addition, again, to working with other entities, such as our educational opportunities, not just our public school system, but I think there are ways that we can partner with next level education, perhaps our universities or our vocational education centers, to make sure that we are fostering the environment for those ideas so that they can grow. I will tell you, the other thing I've done is I champion the innovation center that we have right now. It sits on a land where the D-Lab is. I fought for that because there's ideas born in this community, brought to this community that want to be fostered to life. Look at B9 Creation, started in an incubator in an innovation center, and now look at how much they're growing as a 3D printing company. That is fantastic. We want to see more stories like that in Rapid City, and as your next mayor, I'll foster that environment in our community. Thank you.
I mentioned earlier, 2007, right? Sitting down in the incubator at the School of Mines, a little building. That was the dream we had then of having what we're happening now. And I'll re-mention it. If Todd Gagney's in here or Ray Hespin, if you're in here, what these guys are doing is exactly what we talked about back in the early 2000s. This incubator idea doesn't come up in the last couple of years. I got to tell you that. It came up a long time ago, sitting back with Jim Meyerhouse and I think Jim Skoll and I think Bill Gickling and some of these guys that were in there in those meetings. And we dreamed about the tech sector, and it's can happen in your community. But I'm telling you what, it's going to come at a little bit of a price. These guys want to expand their building. They want to take up a parking lot downtown, but they want to bring 40 jobs. He got a $15 million kick in the pants to be able to expand his building and expand Wildfire, Todd's organization, which is an incubator software company that brings people to the community from across the world, some of the smartest people you're ever going to meet. And they're going to come to Rapid City and they're going to incubate and they're going to start software companies here, and all for free, and all he wants is a stake in their company. If you guys want to have another conversation about this, call me. This is important. We cannot lose this opportunity.
The question again?
Yes. A large percentage of new jobs are created by startups. How do you plan on attracting and developing more startups in Rapid City?
Okay, so I hear startups and I think, how do we attract younger people to stay here? This issue is near and dear to my heart. My two daughters just graduated from DSU a couple of weeks ago. And like so many other younger people, they're faced with the question of whether do they move or do they stay? Whether it's a remote work or maybe a job here in Rapid City. Rapid City has a lot to offer, but we also have a lot that we need to improve. For the most part, I think Rapid City offers a wonderful quality of life, but we have the challenges of affordable housing, public transportation, profitable careers. We need to emphasize jobs, social spaces, support our schools, and expand daycare. You know, like I mentioned earlier, we need to invest in our schools. The primary concern that's on the mind of most families is the quality of the education their children are going to receive. We need to invest in our schools. And we also need to address the brain drain that's occurring. How do we retain our young people and these students if they can't find employment or have difficulty with transportation or don't have jobs that are attractive to them? You know, I believe that if our younger folks see our community investing in them and they really, really think that we're listening to them, they're going to want to stick around. They're going to want to work here. They're going to want to play here. And more importantly, they're going to want to stay here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I think about this question, I think about one of the 7 questions that didn't get asked. What are we going to do about keeping the younger people here? And we have a living experiment going on right now downtown. You know, we've done a lot of talk about, you know, the east of Fifth, creating an environment, and we'll have living quarters available in that mixed-use building that's being built where the Imperial was. And it's going to be interesting to see what the age group is of the people that actually end up living there, if it's affordable or whatever. But one of the things we have to do to attract startups is they look for a lifestyle. They want an experience. Their life is an experience. They want to live downtown. They want to be able to walk to where they work. They normally eat out, you know, so they want to be able to walk to restaurants, walk to, you know, and we are living live this experiment right now as we speak, and we'll have some pretty good answers about how this is going to work in the next 3 to 6 months. But we have to. That's what the East of Fifth project is doing, is creating an environment where the young people can have their experience, I guess. Thanks.
Our next question, Ron, will start. Tourism and hospitality is the largest employment industry in town. How can we continue to support the arts and entertainment industry?
I mentioned earlier, and I talked to some of the arts people. I've been on the council on and off for a total of about 8 years, 4 terms, but I came on when it was appropriate for me to come back and come on. And one of the conversations I've always had with the arts community and the cultures of the city has been underfunded, for one. They bring a lot of people to the community, but they don't get any of the funding from what the Civic Center gets, about $4.5–5 million. The tourism industry gets over $1 million, $1.2 million from taxes that are created from hotels. You go to like Vegas or somewhere like that, you're paying a $20, $30, $40, maybe a $50 fee that goes to the fund the arts community, the cultural community. We have an opportunity in Rapid City, and I can't do it myself. I've been always open to help somebody take it to the state and say, listen, we need an opportunity to get in on some of these funding. And we work with the hoteliers to see what we can work out, because they may not be a big, huge 10,000 seat venue, but this is a nice little venue that a lot of people come to. If you could put this many people in from outside your community into your community, they're going to spend money. But so they should be able to share in some of that funding. I've tried to get people from the arts community on board with this. Maybe it's a little bit too complicated, or maybe we're just a little bit disconnected, but we'll work together to make that happen, and at least give it a shot. At least give it a shot. Don't come to the council and beg for the pittance of money that you get when you deserve more. The cultural part, when we look at the Native American part, I can't do that. I'm a white European. I don't understand the Native community that well, but I would sure help.
I think we have a vibrant arts and culture in our Rapid City area, but unfortunately, we're grossly underfunded, and I don't think the arts community are given the credit that they totally deserve. I think one way that we can help is partner with the Department of Tourism. We can also partner with Visit Rapid City, and I also think it's important to partner with the schools. I know I'm back on the schools again, but invest in arts and culture in our schools. I also think it's important to enhance and improve our Native American relations that we have. They are indigenous people, and we have to give them the credit and that they deserve, and we need to partner with them, have them guide us and help us learn, and we can grow as a community by doing that. In addition, I think it's important that through that, we can tap into our local artists as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that the arts are completely underfunded, and as an economic development tool, the arts play a larger role in bringing people to our community than we think. I think when the hospital's looking at bringing people to Rapid City, they want to look at our schools, and they want to look at our roads, and they want to look at everything. I think they look at the arts, and I think we fall short on their expectations of what we should have. I'm a trumpet player. My dad was a trumpet player. My brother's a trumpet player. I personally, financially support the arts. Whenever I can go over to the Performing Arts Center and listen to the Massa brothers play their trumpets or anything like that, I'm all in. I'm a fan of the arts. I think being involved in the arts help children with their math skills. I just think that we're out here in the Midwest, and it's just, if it doesn't scream louder than the other ones, they just don't get the attention. So anyway, I think if I prevail and if I end up being the mayor, I will certainly look at the arts and their funding. Thanks.
Would you mind repeating the question for me?
Of course. Tourism and hospitality is the largest employment industry in town. How can we continue to support the arts and entertainment industry?
Well, first of all, I think it's a great question because we already talked earlier, agriculture and tourism are the big drivers for our economy, and tourism plays a major role. I'm proud as my time as council president, along with the rest of the council and the mayor, that we were able to, and all of you, by the way, we were able to get the new arena in. That was significant. We wouldn't be able to afford it today, by the way. Thank God we got it when we did. And now we're starting to attract more events, like a Morgan Wallen concert, I think brought like 30-something people from other states here, just incredible amount of people. But here's the thing I think we ought to look at. We're talking about arts and entertainment. So something we need to do is get strategic about this discussion. What we do is we make money on multi-day events. That is a huge thing, bringing outside money into this community. One way you do that is through sports tournaments. So that's entertainment. So whether it's Lakota Nation Invitational, or whether it's a wrestling tournament or baseball tournament, soccer tournament, all of that, I think those are going to be significant. I'm very encouraged by the fact that we are starting a sports commission to look at all of the facilities around the area to see what we can host. And when we can host events, families come here, they stay here for multiple days, they spend money at restaurants, stay in hotels. I want Rapid City to be the retail hub for the entire region. So the more things we do that attract the arts and culture, whether it's concerts or sports or even the local scene that we have, all of those things play a role in making sure that visitors come here to spend their money so that we don't have to. Thank you.
Our next question will start with Laura. And this will be our final question before closing remarks, I believe. You have all served on the city council at some time. What 3 items are you most proud of?
It's a lot.
You mean that we participated in?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming from the audience question, but let me read it one more time. You have all served in the city council at some time. What 3 items are you most proud of?
I think I'd say the first thing is our youth city council. I love that. The fact that they had come to City Hall 3 times and asked to become an ordinance, I think is a shame. Who says no to kids, right? 8th grade through 12th grade, it's civics in action. That way they just don't take a class at school, regurgitate the information, take a test, and then get on. They are actually living civics. Another thing is the Human Relations Commission, which is now the Community Relations Commission. Anytime that we can build bridges and heal divides and learn from one another, I think that is amazing. And I personally have learned so much. My gosh, I could go on and on. Elevate Rapid City. I think it's done a tremendous, wonderful things for Rapid City. Oh gosh, there's so much. I think, did I name 3? Is that 3? So I should probably stop there. Okay, thank you.
You know, I'm 65 and it's been a long time, so I just don't really remember. But what I do, don't laugh. You know, I served on the council because I wanted to do the business of the city on behalf of the citizens, and I felt like I accomplished that, and I felt like that I did a good job at listening, and I felt like I did a good job of trying to bring people together to try to to come together to provide solutions for the city of Rapid City, and that's good enough for me. Thanks.
Well, a vision you can accomplish alone isn't much of a vision. So I would say anything I've accomplished has been the help of many people. For one, I'm going to start with Fire Station 1. Fire Station 1 is our downtown fire station. In 2019, I scraped and clawed in order just to get a few $100,000 to help design what Fire Station 1 would be. It passed by a 6-4 vote, if you want to know how difficult it was. And then I came back on the city council in 2020, worked with Chief Rod Seals. He said, Jason, we need to get this done. I said, I'm going to make that a priority. And with Chief Culberson, we were able to make that happen thanks to the council and their work on that. So now we see that under construction. It's 20 plus years overdue. And we were finally able to get that done. You will see that I fought for that. And everybody knows I gave everybody a hard time that worked with me, that was a big priority. The other priority when I came back on was we needed a new police precinct, especially serving the west side and growing south side. So now we've secured land at the corner of Catron and Sheridan Lake Road where a new police precinct will be. They're currently working on that. It's going to be a great location because it improves response time to make sure the other half of the city has great response time, in addition to the substation up in North Rapid. I've always had the backs of our first responders. I continue to do so. Other things I've done, I've initiated bonuses for COVID for both our frontline workers and our staff. And if you've ever used Lyft or Uber in town, you know that I'm the one who led the charge on that as well. The new arena, the Innovation Center, protecting your rights during COVID, all those things are things I'm proud of, and I hope to continue to serve as mayor for you. Thank you.
I didn't do any of this stuff on my own, but I can grant that the fire department and all those things are good items. But I could say the one thing that I was involved in that I was most proud of is getting the water rights from Pactola. At that time, it was a big deal. Cost a lot of money. But every time people want to talk about water, I can go back and say, you know what? I was part of that council that made that decision. There was a lot of wisdom on that council at the time. I learned a lot. I was mentored a lot. I was the only new guy on the council at the time. Then we built Jackson Springs. That was the second one. The third one that is really true to my heart is wheeling and dealing to get the girls' softball fields built, knowing that the girls, their parents, everybody wouldn't have to play softball with boys anymore. They wouldn't have to play baseball. They could now play softball. So we worked hard on that. We wheeled and dealed. We make some deals. They built the hiking. They built the hiking trails up Skyline Drive. They built M Hill. They built before that. They built the bike paths. So the list go on and on and on. The fire departments, that was supposed to go where the Innovation Center is now. So we can thank that because the fire department was scheduled to go to where the Innovation Center is. Now they're building around the mission. So I didn't want to see that happen, but I was off the council when that transpired. So, but we built some other fire departments, one out in North Rapid, one in South Rapid. There's a lot of stuff, but I can say I'm most proud of getting the water rights from Pactola, because all of you can drink that nice, clean water that we win awards for every year.
Thank you, Ron. Now we're going to move to our closing remarks. A reminder to the candidates, you'll all have 1 minute. We'll start with Brad. You'll all have 1 minute, and we'll go in order, and we'll wrap up with Laura. 1 minute, sir. The last minute, not to make it,
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. to be here tonight with you and the time you spent here with us. I spent the last 35 years being involved in numerous commercial and residential projects. I've built projects, I've worked with employees, and I've created economic development. I feel that I've been interviewed for this job of mayor for the last 35 years. I want you to know that I want it. I know I'm not very good at speaking, and I'd work on that. But I know how to. I know how to get things done, and I've done it my whole life. And I'd appreciate your vote. I'm Brad Estes, running for mayor, and please vote for me on June 6th.
Plato once said that the city is what it is because the citizens are what they are. And for us to pursue our potential, we need you to pursue your potential. And if you do, we all win. I want Rapid City to be a place where families flourish, children thrive, neighbors are respected, businesses grow, freedoms are enjoyed, adventures are taken, and faith and hope are alive and well. That's the Rapid City I'm going to work for. That's the reason why I'm running for mayor. I'm not running simply to win a race. I'm running for Rapid City to win. I'm going all in for Rapid City because I believe in us, and I believe it's time to have a leader help take us to the next level and help us be the best place possible for the next generation. I'm Jason Solomon. I ask for your vote on June 6th. Early voting starts May 22nd. Go ahead and get her done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I've served on the council on and off when it was needed. Rapid City needs a strong mayor right now. They need somebody that can make decisions. We don't need anybody talking about what they accomplished on their own. It's going to take all of us to accomplish it. I understand that. It's going to take a lot of hard work. That's what I'm used to doing. I've been in business. That's what I did. I started businesses for a lot of other people. I started my own businesses, and I was successful with them. Today, I'm semi-retired, and I come back and I see where Rapid City is today. I've lived here for over 50 years. This is a beautiful community, and more than anything, I love the people that live here, and I love everything about Rapid City. I've decided to stay here. My stakes are here, and I'm not leaving. I want to do a good job as the mayor. I know I can do a good job. I've been preparing myself for this. I didn't just wake up one day and say, yep, I'm going to run for mayor. I've been preparing. I'm prepared. I understand. I have a plan for most of the issues. If I don't, there's somebody in the community that will help me figure it out. There's people at the city that have staff, that have knowledge, that have institutional knowledge that we can work with to make these things happen. And I'm a realist.
We are at a pivotal moment, and this is a very important election. We can keep doing the same old, or we can really do something different. I hope you've been taking this seriously because I certainly am. This election is not about voting for your second grade buddy or someone that you see every Sunday or someone throwing out partisan dog whistles. When you vote, experience matters, results matter, because our community matters. This has been the most rigorous and expensive job interview I have ever done. I plan on being City Hall's next CEO, but I'm humble enough to know that I answer to each and every one of you. So let's handle this like an actual job interview. Take each of our resumes, compare them side by side, education, profession, recent experience. Who has been showing up, standing up, and speaking up every single day for the last 6 years? Who speaks up for our children, our seniors? Who works with local businesses? When I first campaigned in 2017, my slogan was Laura listens, learns, and leads.
Thank you, Laura.
That's how I served these last 2 terms, and that's how I will serve as your next mayor. Thank you.
And that is our Elevate Forum. Yeah, round of applause for the candidates. Let's do that. Thank you. This is hard work. While we are thanking everybody, I'd like to thank the Doll. I'd like to thank News Center 1 for making this possible, AARP, and all of you for voting. I know this is on television. This is also being spread around a lot of social media channels, so I will say this. A vote is better than a social media comment. The election is June 6th, and early voting starts on May 22nd. Thank you for attending and viewing. You guys have a great evening.